are now listening to the NYYST
Podcast.
Welcome back. This is episode 220 of the NYYST podcast. I'm your host, Christian. As always, joined by my co-host, Chris.
You.
And back from assignment. Go Yank
I'm back.
SGR.
What
Have you replenished all your fluids, Ryan, after last week's
Yeah.
absence?
Yeah, man, just need the day, I need a personal day, one assignment.
I don't think your microphone is on your actual microphone. I think you're on
You don't
like
think so?
No, definitely not, dude.
Wow.
Definitely not.
Shows off, dude.
Definitely not. Am I right?
Yeah, I don't think it's actually not even plugged in, guys.
That's great. You did a really good job tonight.
Wow, all these
plugged in.
technical. I mean, we only bullshit for 10 minutes before we start
Seriously.
recording. All these technical issues should be worked out beforehand.
How
I mean, we
drunk is
do-
Ryan? What's
We
the,
do want people to leave us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes, so we hope that they don't have any
Please.
technical issues when they go and do that on iTunes.
please? It's been 2 weeks now. The reviews were going great for a while, and now they're just kind of lagging. So we need more. As Stack Guy Ragged, is that good?
No, it's not even turning on.
Wow, that's a really tough moment for you. Well, you still sound okay. Like we could still get through the show.
Should I leave and join again? But no, it's like the mic's not even.
Yeah, it is.
Weird.
You sound fine. Like we'll
You
get
yank-
through it.
Keep yanking the mic, Ryan.
Yeah,
That's what happens.
keep yanking the mic. So what do we got today, pal? I got on
Nothing.
you on social media a little bit earlier for your show sheets.
You can write them if you want.
No, I think you do a great job. I actually complimented you.
I'm not into compliments.
So you know what's weird? I'll start with this a little BS. Judge's home run the other day. Judge's home run. Didn't realize that was his first one of the spring.
I know people were saying he was washed because he hadn't hit any home.
But who has a bunch of home runs this spring so far?
Gleyber
Stanton?
Torres.
Stanton though too? Does Stanton have like 5?
I don't know.
Pull
Ryan,
up the. I
pull
think
it up.
is my mic sound. Does my mic sound
Yeah,
better?
your mic sounds
It
good.
does.
You sound
Ryan,
great now.
pull it up, not pull
You
it out. Do you
know.
understand the difference
Pull it
between
up.
these two?
Wait, what are we even talking about? Are we talking about my?
We're
I
talking
want to know
about
how
talking
many home
stats.
runs John Carl Stanton has hit in the spring.
Yeah, I could do that. You guys gonna pay me?
Yeah.
I think it's
Um,
like 5 or 6 to be honest.
that's how he hit 6 in the postseason last year.
Yeah,
No, I
feel
know
like-
that.
Uh, Torres hit another pair today. We're recording Saturday night. It's almost 9 p.m. We were planning on having a guest today. The guest backed out last minute, so now we're planning on having a bonus episode for Wednesday morning. I still want to do this, so I won't say anything more unless in case this falls through again. But the plan is, if you love the NYYST podcast, you're going to get plenty of us this coming week. The plan as of right now, this will be your regular Monday morning pod. Then you will have a Wednesday morning pod, and then you will have a Friday morning pod. The Friday morning pod
Dude.
will definitely happen because that will be our reaction. We'll record Thursday night after opening day. You guys see what I'm doing here, because this every fucking year the weather is so beautiful leading into opening day. Opening day hits, what happens? Rain.
30
It's supposed-
degrees, rain, sleet.
So the weather forecast for Thursday right now is rain and in the 50s. It's been 70 and beautiful for the past couple of days. It's going to be nice the next couple of days after.
We've had brush fires in New Jersey because it hasn't rained in so long.
Droughts.
Literally.
And then even if the game has to be postponed till Friday because of the weather, it's going to be 40 degrees.
That's cool. So
Wild.
Gleyber Torres is the leader at spring training. 5 home runs, 9 ribbies.
Which is
What about
I
Gary then? Maybe I'm thinking Gary.
Gary's
Is
in a
what?
horrible. He's a horrible slump
Gary
right now.
has 3, and actually Giancarlo only has 1. It
He
was
only
that
has the one.
massive bomb, though.
I guess maybe it was an old clip I was watching then. I don't know.
Hitting 293, 383 on base. That's Glaber. Looking good.
So Glaber's looking good.
Why do you
Glaber's
have a?
looking-
Can I ask this question? I'm gonna
Yeah.
peel back the curtain here. Why is your wife in the room right now?
She's eating sunflower seeds and watching a show, and that's it.
Don't you have a drop for people that we don't want around anymore?
Babe,
Get the fuck out!
just kidding. She can't hear me. She has her headphones in.
Hmm.
But that'll give her a reason to listen to the show, I guess.
Right. Um.
We could actually segue into her boyfriend.
Yeah, I mean, let's just cut right to it here. Luke Voigt earlier today it was announced that he's going to miss approximately the first 2 months of the season. He has a partial tear in the meniscus, so Jay Bruce will be the everyday first baseman until Luke Voigt gets back. So there's that.
I tweeted this. Do you think that was an awkward you think that was an awkward phone call or like a meeting? Because the Yankees were pretty it got out in the open that the Yankees were just gonna pass on Jay Bruce. And then 10 hours later it was like, just kidding, pal. We want you. We need you. And now he's part of the team. Because we can't fucking stay healthy. We just
These things
can't.
end up working themselves out in the end.
We just can't stay healthy. Does any other team have spring training like this? Is
Yeah,
any other? Tell me.
Eloy Jimenez, dude, he's gonna miss how many months? He's got a torn pectoral muscle. The Jays lost their closer for the year, Tommy John. Anthony Kay left the game today after who's going to be in their rotation. He after getting hit with a liner. Teams get injuries.
Nick Anderson for the Rays.
Right, that's a big piece of their bullpen.
So maybe this is a broader thing that needs to be looked at. Maybe this is a problem just in baseball in general, just how these players are approaching their preparation for the season. You think it's the Rona?
I was around a lot of people today, so I don't want to get you guys infected.
Thanks.
Infected.
No, seriously, it's just the Yankees can't escape this. It's constant. I mean, let me ask you this, because I haven't read up much on the Void stuff. You kind of took me by surprise when you texted it today at a busy day. Is this something that was lingering? Is this something that
they knew about it since 1987, and they just decided to fix it today.
No, seriously, was this lingering from his foot
Yes,
issues?
no, I don't know if it has anything to do. I don't know if it has anything to do with the foot issues. I don't know if it's even on the same side of the body. I know he was playing through it, and the Yankees left it up to Voigt. From what I read from Lindsay Adler, is that the Yankees left it up to Voigt to decide whether he wanted to play through it or get
That's
surgery.
so frustrating.
And apparently, he made the decision late yesterday, to go get cut. So
That's so frustrating. And let's circle back real quick.
okay,
sorry.
Jen.
Sorry. Let's circle back real quick to
Okay, Jen. Okay.
Zach Britton. Wasn't this something that I mean, he's getting cleaned out, right? He's getting cut open, cracked open and cleaned out,
cracked open, cleaned out.
right?
Yeah, he's having.
Isn't this
bone
something
chips
that
with-
could have been looked at in the offseason?
No,
No.
I don't think Zach.
Oh
Britton's in-
no! He just threw one pitch this spring, and he was like, "Oh, you know
Why-
what? I think I have a bunch
why-
of cartilage in my elbow."
Why is there? Why? Sometimes I wish that I could be next to you so I could fucking choke you. Voigt's injury, if you want to say that the Yankees should have been more proactive on it, I will give you that because it sounds like they should have been more proactive on it. Zach Britton, because he had COVID and because he got the spring
Right.
training late and he didn't start his throwing program normally, I don't think the Yankees could have changed the timeline on that in any way, shape, or form. I don't think Zach Britton's injury is an Aaron Judge situation from last year, or even if you want to say that they should have done something sooner about Voigt. I think Zach Britton is a little bit different because the COVID set him back. If you want to say that he was throwing, if he didn't have COVID and he was throwing normally like he would in a regular all season, he didn't say anything till he got to Tampa, then yeah, maybe you have a hill to die on there. But in that situation, I don't think you have a leg to stand on.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I'll give it to you. So let's just. Who else do we have injured right now at this current moment?
Well,
We
it's
have
Britton, Voigt, and if you want to count
Severino,
Schmidt, okay,
Schmidt. Who else?
okay, so who else? That's it.
Gio feeling good. Gio's
He's ready to go,
he's
babe.
ready to go. He's good. He's feeling good.
He's the starting shortstop, homie.
G is ready. G's been in the lineup now. He's ready. He's ready to go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So can the Yankees? We talked about Zach Britton going down, and the Yankees can sustain that. Can the Yankees sustain not having Voigt until?
No, they'll win. I don't see them surpassing 40 wins this year now.
Can they sustain this though until he comes
This is
back?
the straw that broke the camel's back. The whole positivity only, all rise all the time. I'm done. It's over. They'll win 40 games this year. The Baltimore Orioles will probably be way better than them. They'll be lucky if they beat the Orioles twice this year.
Yeah, well, you know what?
Yes, they can sustain it. Come on.
Well, you talked about how worthless Jay Bruce is at first base. Now he's going to be playing there every day. I mean, he better get pretty decent over there now.
Well, you know what? As long as it's not Mike Ford.
Do you think Mike Ford gets the call?
No, he doesn't.
Well,
And it doesn't sound like Tyler Wade is a lock right now either.
so we might be wrong
What?
on all count.
No, we got Higgy.
Yeah, well,
Well, now it's altered with the injury, so it's
yeah,
not
well,
even
the injury made
same
us look a little better
options.
because Jay Bruce
Yeah.
wasn't even going to be on this team.
Yeah, well, just to do a little paperwork here, Robinson Chirinos gone. Let him go. Diet Rich gone.
Gone.
So those two players are no longer options for the Yankees. The Yankees released them from their contracts today. Jay Bruce, just to backtrack, is on the roster. Mike Tauchman is making the team.
Jay Bruce on the
And-
roster by default.
And after the game today, Aaron Boone did not say that Tyler Wade had made the team. He said there are still things that they're trying to work out.
Shocked. What are you working out? I mean, what are you working out at that point?
I don't know. I don't know, Ryan. Look at what Tyler Estrada's been doing. He's been hitting well in spring. I mean, is that an option for the Yankees?
Really? They like Estrada more.
Well, isn't there that
Again, we're talking about
Armando Alvarez might have a shot too?
Yeah, but I don't know. He's not. I don't think.
Yeah,
he's
I
on a
don't-
40 man. I don't think the Yankees
Yeah, no.
really have a lot of flexibility there. I
if you're-
saw somebody tweet this earlier today that we are stupid because we think Tyler Wade is good defensively. He actually grades out as one of the worst.
us, like
Yeah, us.
actually us.
Actually,
Okay.
us. He actually grades out as one of the worst players in Major League Baseball in not only offense but defense as well.
Oh, didn't know that. Guess my eyes fooled me.
Tyro's
Yes.
not really having a good spring though. He's 4 for 24.
So you got to think of it this
167.
way, right? Let's just even consider that he's a shitty defensive player, right? Tyler Wade. What are the Yankees thinking now? Even if it was between him and Tyler Estrada, I mean, who brings you more value for what you're using them for? You think Estrada is that much better of a hitter that he's going to bring you more value? And you're going to tell me that Tyler Estrada is a better defender than Tyler Wade? I mean, and none of that makes sense to me. The fact that Tyler Wade isn't a lock at this point is kind of a joke to me. Because who's better out there unless you're looking to make a move? I just don't see who's better at that point.
Maybe
Agree?
Right.
Tyler
Yeah, I
Estrada
agree.
might be better.
You really think so?
It's like it's splitting hairs, dude. It's like, would you
Yeah.
rather have your left hand crushed in a vice or your right hand crushed in a vice? It's
My
either way
right
it's gonna
hand.
hurt. Well, but that's your yanking hand, huh?
I'm yeah, it is.
Okay. So that's how people know your brothers. This is a common hobby between
It
the two
is.
of you here.
It is. Yeah.
Hey,
We're brothers.
So let's rein it back in over here. So Luke Voigt, the partial meniscus tear. Uh, he's been dealing. It sounds like he's been dealing with it, and the Yankees kind of did it again, where they kind of left it up to the player to decide what they wanted to do with it. And look, man, I want to stay in a positive frame of mind. I do because the season's going to fucking start in a few days.
Yeah.
But at some point, you got to treat these players like they're your fucking kids.
Yeah. Well, especially when you're fucking paying them the way they pay them. I don't care if you're making league minimum. It's still a lot of money.
Chris, you have 3 kids. If all 3 of your kids said, "Daddy, I'm eating fucking candy for dinner for the next week," what are you going to say to them?
Depends. Depends on the content. Am I home? Am I home for 3 weeks, or are they Skyping me? I'm on like a business trip or something.
No, you're daddy. You're home to
Okay.
take care of the kids, and they say,
Okay.
"Daddy, we're eating gobstoppers and fucking juji fruits for dinner for the next 3 weeks.
I'd
We're gonna
say.
sprinkle in. And then we're gonna mainline some pixie
Well, you might
sticks."
as well. You might as well. at
Are you
that
going to
point.
stop them and say, "No, I'm dad. You're going to eat fucking real food"? It's
Yeah.
almost the same thing where the Yankees have been like, "Hey, I'm Luke Voigt. Hey, hey, bro, Skip. My knee's fucked up. I'm going to play through it." No, dude, get your ass in a fucking
Yeah, it's
MRI
like-
tube.
It's like you need to find a balance. We always rip on people who talk about if George were still alive. George might have been like over the top with certain shit and being in the clubhouse and making sure shit was in line, but the Yankees have gotten so lax on everything that it's like you've gone to a completely like it's been completely polarized at this point. They're on the complete opposite end of the spectrum now, where they're giving these guys too much freedom. They think it's I guess the world we live in today, they don't think they have the right to tell these guys what to do or how to conduct themselves or shit like that. And it's like, no, you're my fucking employee. You're still my employee. This is a game. This is a business. You're my employee. And it shouldn't be up to the player to say, yeah, I'm good. If you're feeling pain, get it checked out.
Right, especially now.
And you know what? Shame on the fucking players too. I
but,
understand. I
man,
understand
know
you
what,
want to
bro?
be tough guy. I get that, and you know what? A big part of me respects it.
We can't, you're going to say, shame on the player, but this is something we all applauded Luke Voigt for last year.
Yeah,
Right.
listen. I just said part of me respects it, and I get it. But you're also putting your team now in a really shitty position because this could have been taken care of. Let's not be stupid with it. When you're mid-season and you're playing through something, that's one thing. But if you're having issues with your leg at that point, you got to get that shit taken care of before the season starts.
But we don't know the exact timeline of when he started feeling pain. If you're going to tell me he started feeling pain in February, then we have a real problem on our hands. If you're telling me he started feeling pain a week and a half ago, I mean, how much are you really changing the timeline now?
Well, I think it really matters which leg it's on. If it's on the leg that was actually really doesn't, because you can say he with that foot injury, even if it was the other leg, he's clearly favoring and putting more weight on the other leg. His leg should have been checked out after the season. And if you
that's
see it-
actually
What?
that's what I was looking up right now to see if it was that same side. It's his left knee and it was his right foot actually.
All right, so now I'll just go back to my point because now you're favoring that leg. You're putting more weight on your other leg
Yeah.
throughout a whole season. You better get checked out and make sure you're fucking healthy. And when they're checking that foot to make sure the foot is good, you got to make sure your whole lower body at that point is healthy. You're telling me they didn't see a partial tear if he had one?
Do you think that these players get MRIs on every single part of their body after the season's over?
I think that if you have a lower body injury that you've played through for a
So
significant
if
amount of
nothing
time,
bothered him from November until 2 weeks ago, when's he getting an MRI?
when his foot was healed, I'm saying.
So we're
So-
gonna
So,
MRI
so
everybody.
here's my thing. So here's
So-
my thing. When his foot
Mhm.
was healed and they did another
Mhm.
test and they made sure everything looked good.
Luke, do you feel fine? Is anything else
No,
bothering
I'm
you?
sorry, that's not okay. They have plenty of
Every
money.
single fucking doctor in America would ask that same line of questioning. No one's going to say, oh, well, let's stick you in an MRI tube anyway.
All right, so you're telling me that when these guys are healed and they say they're ready to go, they don't go for another screening to make sure everything
Of
looks
the
good?
injury, yes.
Not of the whole lower body. They couldn't do the whole lower body for him. That's too
They-
much
I'm
money.
sure
Is that pushing
I'm
it
sure
over
they
the edge?
could. I'm sure they could. But,
I'm sure they could.
But
I'm sure
who
they
is going to
should've.
do that?
I'm
Who's
sure they
going to
should
do
have.
that?
The
Who's
New
gonna
York
do that?
Yankees. The New York Yankees.
Okay, right.
I'm sure
So
they
if
should
you
have.
if
gotta
you
get it in
had
the
plantar
CBA then.
fasciitis in your right foot last year, so
Mhm.
let's say you Chris Stacey had plantar fasciitis in your right foot last season, right?
Okay.
So before you report to spring training, you're gonna say, "Hey doc, why don't you fucking take a look at my meniscus in my left knee because I'm fucking super smart and I'm smarter than everybody here. So why don't you
Well-
take a look at my knee?"
Well,
You wouldn't be, see.
didn't
No,
he
no, no.
say
What
it
you're
was
trying to
bothering
do,
him, but he was playing through it?
we don't know at what point he started feeling the pain. That's what I'm trying to tell you. If more information comes out and we're going to learn that this bothered him last year, it bothered him when he reported to camp, then yes, you
Okay.
are
fair.
right that we should have looked at this a long time ago. If
Fair.
we're learning now, he played through how many weeks of spring training? How many weeks of spring training did he play through? I think the last time he was in the lineup was what, Tuesday?
Yeah.
So if he felt
Is-
something maybe
Yeah.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, then what are we talking about here? We're talking about a few days. We need to know what the timeline is before we really are really going to lose it on something like this. If the Yankees sat on this since fucking February, that's a big problem. If they were sitting on it since Tuesday and they were trying to get test results and see what Voit wanted to do regarding the injury, I mean, what are we talking about? Instead of coming back on May 30th, he comes back on May 24th. I mean, it's not that much of a fucking big deal.
Okay. I think it's fair. I'll wait. But if it comes out and he's had this tear ever since the foot injury and he hasn't said anything and he's really maybe not felt pain but felt some discomfort and didn't say anything, then shame on him at that point.
Then go back and every time that you said Luke Voigt's a man, he
Dude,
put
that's
the team
different.
on
You're
his
in the middle of a
back.
season. You're in the middle of a season
Yeah.
and you're fighting for a
Fair, dude.
championship.
Right,
and if
but
you
don't
feel like you
think
can
that
play through
mentality
something,
is still going through his mind at that point.
Of course it is, and that's the part of me that respects it. But you have to pick and choose when you're going to be the hero there, and this
All
was
right,
not the
so-
time. So if you're feeling it before spring training or right when spring training starts, you say something right away. You get that shit
Ryan,
taken care of.
before the end of the show, please do me a favor, Ryan. See if there's any information out there of when Voigt reported it or when the Yankees were first alerted to when he was injured. Because I would like to know this because our luck is we'll do a whole fucking 20-minute rant about this, put the show in the can, and then by the time it hits Monday morning, we'll find out when the Yankees found out about this, because I didn't personally see anything today of when they were alerted about this. It just seemed like this happened in the last few days.
Okay.
The only thing that I saw so far, just trying to find that, is Boone said, this is a quote on Boone, decided to go in and have that cleaned up, I guess, talking about
Britain.
Voigt.
Voigt, no, his knee. And then functionally he was playing, but was still dealing with some swelling in there after games and things like that. Felt like calendar-wise, it was best to get this taken care of with hopefully putting it behind him for the bulk of the season.
Right, but it still
So the
doesn't tell us.
term
Right,
clean,
yeah.
go in there and get it cleaned up, to me is like, this has been an ongoing thing. Maybe we'll just get it cleaned up now, dude. Maybe now we'll get it cleaned up, and then
how long is
and
how long is the ongoing? We
and then
still
they
don't know
crack it
that.
open to clean them up, and it's a partial tear in the meniscus.
What are you even talking about, dude? They're going in there because they found the tear.
Not what it sounds like.
Okay, now you're gonna interpret Boone's words like you're a fucking person that interprets people's words.
Okay, when you say something like we're gonna go in there to try and clean it up.
Yeah, clean up the tear. I'm sure that's what he meant.
Okay, I'm
Yeah, and it
not
was
gonna.
an MRI exam revealed a torn meniscus.
That's not a cleanup, dude. That's a fucking surgery. It's a
Which is
surgery.
what cleanups. Cleanup is also a surgery.
No, a cleanup is what Zach Britton's getting.
No,
A
surgery.
which
cleanup
is
is
also
like-
surgery.
Yeah. What happened?
He got triggered.
You can walk away.
Why you can't see him?
No, I had the Zoom closed out. I was pulling up a bunch of tabs. I got
Stop
distracted.
pulling stuff, dude.
Stop
I
pulling
can't
tabs.
stop. I can't.
All right, all right. Now let's just focus on what's going on the field here. Jay Bruce went from a guy that took an opt out, was going to walk out,
Mhm.
show up somewhere else, to now being the Yankees starting first baseman. How long until DJ LeMahieu is the starting first baseman?
Yeah, I mean that's a good question, and that's kind of what I was hinting at with Jay Bruce's competence over at first base defensively. I mean, how long do they give him before they say, look, this clearly isn't working, and we need to move DJ over?
The Yankees get no benefit of the doubt when it comes to their timetables for injuries, but Boone today said that he expects his words, significantly before June to when Voit returns.
Okay, so that's hopeful, but like you said, we got to take it with a grain of salt. But here's something I want to bring up.
Do you give Bruce 6 weeks, 7 weeks as the first baseman?
Well, maybe this is why they're not committing to Tyler Wade, because they're foreseeing that maybe they're going to have to move DJ over to first. And if you're going to have a guy at second, maybe you don't want it to be Tyler Wade there for that long. You want to have a more competent hitter. And maybe at that point, you have more faith in someone else.
Yeah, but that's what a lot of people were hypothesizing today, but they already let Dietrich walk out the door.
Okay, but that's Dietrich, whatever the hell his name is. Maybe they flirt with Gio at short a little more. Maybe that's something that we're not taking seriously. And I know that they said
who is your shortstop? Gleyber Torres, or is it somebody else?
Yeah, I know, but dude,
are the Yankees trading Gleyber Torres
if
in the
we're talking
offseason?
6 weeks, we can't have it.
No.
And if we're gonna assume that Jay Bruce can't play first and we're moving DJ there, who are we playing? Who are we having at second base for 6 weeks?
First, it wouldn't be 6 weeks. Obviously, I would think that maybe when would they pull the plug on Jay Bruce, after 2 weeks, a week?
Well, okay. I mean, he's got to be pretty bad to pull the plug on him after a week or two. He's got to be Chris Carter-esque over there at first base.
Now, here's an interesting name. Chris Gittens, guy with a lot of power. Dan Federico brought him up on a show a long time ago.
Yeah.
He's now become somewhat
Right.
I'm trying to equate this to something that you guys don't follow, but in wrestling, a guy that's not in a main promotion like WWE or AEW,
Like he's not scripted in a main show.
Shut the fuck up. That's very popular. He's called a quote indie darling.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Gittens is like an indie darling right now. A lot of fans are, talking up his name, blah, blah, blah. He's a guy, he's a little older, right, Ryan? Can you look it up? He's probably about 25.
He's 27.
27, Jesus. So, I mean, he's not a young guy, but so his chances might be running out. Is the sands in the hourglass here. This again, but if Gittens makes the team, you have no middle infielder. You have no backup middle infielder. You got a catcher, 2 outfielders, and another first baseman. That's poor roster construction.
That's why the Talkman shit really kind of shocked me. Does Talkman play any first base?
Only in his Game of Thrones role-playing league.
Only in MLB The Show?
Yeah. Could stick him there. Because anyone could play first.
Oh, yeah, anyone could play first, yeah.
I think at that point, he needs to play second base, no?
No, because then you can leave DJ at second.
But going back to your point about Urshela playing shortstop, who's playing third base now?
Right. It's not Dietrich.
Okay, so you were bringing up who else is injured.
Andujar.
He's hurt.
Oh, no, he's hurt. Shit. So, yeah, that wouldn't make sense anyway.
And again,
That's another injury.
If you're gonna go, he sucks anyway. Who cares? Anyway, if you're gonna go that route, then Gleyber Torres is not your. If you're gonna move Gleyber Torres off a shortstop, even in the short term, he's not your shortstop.
No, you're right. You're right. I agree with you on that. It's a
Although
really
I don't-
shitty situation to be in, really. Voigt
Although I
was the,
saw somebody say something, I don't know. It might have been somebody that might know something. I saw a couple fans tweet about it. Is that there's a rumor going around that the Yankees are going to go all in on Corey Seager in the offseason.
which
Yes.
is
started
yeah,
by SGR.
yeah.
Can't spell Seager without SGR.
So I mean, if you're going to go that route, then Gleyber Torres is not your shortstop.
Right.
Does
I
that-
don't know. I guess
I mean,
I
we-
feel like this is all
I mean-
going to depend on Voigt, right? On his track and where it's looking when he's going to return. Because
So-
if it does look like May, then they're going to give Bruce a shot until May.
I mean,
I'd
so
say.
we're all pretty much geniuses because we all took the under on the 33 home runs for Voigt this year.
That's true. One for
Pretty
one.
much a lock at this point.
True, and if he proves us wrong, it's just a fucking phenomenal year by him at this point.
Right. Win-win.
Win.
Right now, the camel's back has not been broken with the Voigt injury. I'm still very positive. I'm still going to remain positive.
It's whatever. They'll get through it. It's not a season-ending injury. Spin it that way. It's only going to be a couple months, hopefully, and he'll be back.
Look, if
But
this
it's
shit's
Luke
gonna
Voigt.
happen, I'd
It's Luke
rather it
Voigt.
happen now. I'd rather it happen now.
Nobody likes Luke Voigt anyway.
Except my
Right.
wife.
Maybe it'll be
she
good for.
lusts
I don't know
Luke Voigt.
when his wife is due, but maybe they'll have the kid while he's injured, so he doesn't
That's
have
what
to.
this all is. That's why he knew about this shit and he complained about it at the perfect time.
Yeah.
Now we got it down.
Hey, you know what? Smart man.
I agree. Family first.
So Jay Bruce is set to become the everyday first baseman. That's kind of scary because we were just talking about him.
Yeah, but you
Playing
know what?
once a
I'll say
week.
this about Jay Bruce. I don't know much about the guy.
Of
I
course you
mean,
don't.
we followed him a decent amount. The Yankees almost got him a few years ago, back in 2017.
But the Mets
20
wanted Gleyber Torres for him.
Yeah, which was fucking ridiculous. But anyway, the guy's a gamer. He's a vet. He knows how to fucking go out there and play. If you're looking Jay Bruce in the face and saying, "Look, we need you for 6 weeks. We need you to be at first base," the guy's out there right now working his ass off to be a good first baseman. I truly believe that. So I don't think it's the end of the world. I really don't.
No, it's not the end of the world. It's just I get the fans' frustration. I really do, but I'm still going to remain positive about the situation. I still
Stay
think
positive. All
yeah.
rise all the time. There's no going. There's no veering from that.
It's I don't know. It's just suck. It does suck. I'm not gonna deny that. It's not how you want a guy like Jay Bruce to make the team. Is when your starting first baseman needs surgery and has to be out for 2 months.
Yeah, Voigt was the one guy you really didn't want to go down.
No, he would have been like 7th on the list at least. If people that I had to rank of who I didn't want to get injured, but nonetheless, what are you gonna do? I do would like more clarification. Hopefully in the next couple of days we do get it of when this really became something that was on the Yankees' plate here.
Yeah.
Because at this point in the season, if he walks into Boone, if Boone gets wind of it, even if it's like, Skip, I feel a little something. I'm okay. I can play. In March, you're going for an MRI. Maybe you let it go in August, but in March you go for an MRI. So
Yeah, and
Again.
my last thing I'll say about Voigt is this is a guy who through last year played through the injury, really became the leader of this team, especially off the
Yeah.
field, really. And you were excited for him to kind of keep moving with that and keep going forward with that kind of mindset. But also defensively, we talked about where the Yankees were most vulnerable when it came to guys that can play and pretty well out there defensively. First base is like the one position that outside of Voigt we really didn't, and Christian thinks he's a fucking bum at first anyway. Outside of Voigt, we really didn't have anyone who has a history of being a good defensive first baseman. And like that's really where this injury kind of hurts right now.
do you see this? You see who this is? Can you tell who this is?
Jacoby Ellsbury.
What the fuck kind of curse did he put on the Yankees?
It's been ever since him, man. Ever since he came to that fucking locker room in Tampa.
No,
Honestly, dude, You know who I think might be the curse is fucking Greg Bird, man, because they drafted him in 2010, and ever since then,
No, but
Yeah.
when did Ellsbury play his last game as a Yankee?
Who cares?
Because just watched the timeline on this.
2018, I think.
Interesting.
2018, I believe. But when was his last real season? 2016.
But
I
when
bel-
did the Yankees kind of banish him? It was in 2019, right? They
It
told him
was
to
in
get the fuck-
20. Well, in 2018, I believe, is when he showed up in the clubhouse in Tampa, and then Gary got hurt.
Right. So
And
he didn't
that's
play at
when
all, right?
shit-
Though in 2018, I think 2017 was his last season.
yeah, he was a DH in a fucking ALCS. Remember?
Yeah. But
Fucking
ever
joked
since he
out.
showed up in that clubhouse, man, and shit was going off the catwalks the rest of that series, Gary got hurt. And he's never been the same ever since. And it's just been injury after injury after
God, this is the curse of Jacoby Ellsbury.
that. Ugh.
Right.
That makes it so much worse. So much worse.
Oh shit, dude! I didn't even
Already
think
the
of that.
worst contract in Yankee history.
And they're still paying him $5 million this year.
Mm.
Right. We couldn't even keep Adam Ottavino in his underbite because we had to pay fucking Jacoby Ellsbury. Right. So actually, the last time that Jacoby Ellsbury played was in 2017. So all that shit kind of started in 2018.
Yeah. So when he showed back up and he was like, "Hey guys, just here to say hi. How's my foot look?" Been out for
I think
2
I don't
years
believe.
now.
You know what? I'm not into this paranormal, whatever shit. But there's something here. There's something
Yeah,
here
I agree.
with Jacoby Ellsbury.
I'll tell you what I'm
I have
gonna
chills right
commit
now. I have
myself to.
chills.
I'm gonna
Suicide?
put together a timeline of that day. 'Cause I know
Sorry,
the
I'm
exa-
not. We
I know
shouldn't
the
joke about
exact
suicide.
Yeah, you
seriously,
shouldn't do
shouldn't
that.
joke
but
about that.
I
I'm
just- I'm
sorry.
triggered.
I'm going to put together a timeline of Jacoby Ellsbury from that day, and just kind of take it from there and see really how much this correlates with him
Look at Jacoby Jenks.
showing back up.
I know. I don't think either of you two listen to the Small Town Murder podcast.
No.
No.
It's phenomenal, by the way. It's two comedians, and they do a show
I
about
heard very good things about it.
about a murder, but it's funny because they make fun of what happens. They don't make fun of the person that dies, but all the circumstances around the murder.
I kind of like this. It's great.
It's really, really good. I've only listened to about 4 or 5 episodes because they're like 2.5 hours long. It's fucking fantastic. But anyway, they put a disclaimer in front of their before they start recording their show. And I feel like we almost have to do that at this point.
Okay. Is the disclaimer
The
real?
following is intended for mature
They're like,
audiences.
no, it's
Viewer
just like
discretion
because
If you're
like
is
easily
advised.
offended.
basically that's kind of like the gist of what they're saying. It's like
Trigger warning.
trigger. Like, no, I honestly, somebody I played high school baseball with actually committed suicide during the week, and I hadn't talked to him in 20 years, but it's still kind of it did suck to hear about that. So I don't want to make light of a situation like that, but we're all friends here. We joke about this type of shit, and it's not meant to be anything to trigger anybody. So I do apologize if I did offend anybody by that, but that's why I almost feel like listening to that show, I was like, these guys get it, that there's a lot of people out there that really they're not open for a certain brand of humor, I guess you could say.
Sure.
Not many are anymore.
But the one episode I was listening to was about a cheerleader that got killed in Morristown in 1982. That was pretty fucked up.
Really?
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get in on this. I'm gonna start listening. I think.
Yeah, it's some of these people are whacked out of their minds.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know, we segue back into the show here. Davy Garcia got sent down.
Don't really like that move, to be honest.
So Domingo Herman will be the 5th starter on the team this year.
Yeah. For now, I mean,
But I believe if you look at his numbers, 9 innings, no runs. So if you're again, What again? I don't want to have to put this disclaimer again in front of every time we bring up Domingo Herman, but like this is the last time I'm going to do it. So, guys, if you're listening to the show in 2 weeks and you don't hear me say it, this is just a blanket statement from now on. When we talk about Domingo Herman, we are talking about Domingo Herman, the pitcher. We are not condoning, advocating, or even any of that
Even
type of
want to support him.
right. And we do not, obviously, we do not agree with what he did. That's it's a personal thing between him and his now wife. If they choose to move past it, that's fine. But we're a Yankee podcast. We're discussing the Yankees. So Domingo Herman plays for the Yankees. We're going to talk about him as the baseball player. If that makes you uncomfortable, it makes us uncomfortable too. But you know what? It's just the way it's got to be. I've said it a dozen times, and this is the last time I'm going to say it. So, Domingo Herman's the fifth starter. So we're going to talk about him as is he the right choice to be the fifth starter, and not counting what happened in the past, counting what he can or will do on the baseball field.
Yeah, and you don't even know going into it like what the Yankees' mindset is. Obviously, they want him to pitch well, but at the same time, if he doesn't, they're going to have a really, really short leash with this guy.
The Yankees could have made this go away. They didn't because he's cheap and he's good.
Well, could they have really made it go away with whatever that law is that's in place?
Yes, because he has an option. They could have sent him down to
Oh,
AAA.
right, right,
Right.
right. But maybe that's not what they want. Maybe they want to just throw him back into this. Obviously, if we're talking about his potential and his talent and earning a spot, he's clearly earned it this spring. So shit can arise from that too, where they just option him for no reason when he's performing that way, and things can be speculated from there as well.
They're not going to want to deal with that. If he's pitching well, they're not going to send him down.
That's what I'm saying. They're not going to want to deal with that extra bullshit that's going to come up from the Players Association and from him and his agents. If he's pitching well and he deserves to be here at this point, given the circumstance that they can't just release him, you got to just throw him out there. And look, now you can have a short leash. Now you can send him out there and say, look, either perform or you're fucking done. And and that's really it. It's cutthroat. It sucks for a lot of people who don't want to watch him out there and support him, but at the end of the day, this is what we're dealing with.
All right. Right. So let's, again, like we said, he's a real piece of garbage for what he did. All right. But we have to talk about him as a baseball player. It's, there's just nothing else to say about it at this point. You just have to talk about him as a baseball player. So to think about this guy's potential and he's the fifth starter, that's pretty fucking scary.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And now what I don't like about this whole thing with Davey going down is like the guy had more than just a cup of coffee last year. And I don't like seeing guys who are so high up on the pedestal of big time prospects. If he had a cup of coffee, maybe pitch a couple innings last year, and now you're sending him down, you're telling him he's not ready yet. That's one thing, but this guy kind of made his mark a little bit last year, and I like to see guys grow from that, especially a guy who seemed to have his shit together like Davy Garcia. And now to send him down is just so counterproductive to me.
Yeah, but you knew it was going to happen at some point. I guess I'd rather have it happen now. He was going to be on an innings limit.
Yeah, I guess that's true too.
You have to look at the perspective of what's the smartest or most logical move for the Yankees. And really, if you break this down in three parts, one is that Davey still has options, so you can send him down. Two is that I'm pretty sure this will affect his service time in some way, right? Like they're going to get an extra year of that. And then three is the performances of Domingo Herman, Jonathan Loaizaga, and even I'll throw in Nick Nelson's name out there in spring training. Those three guys have looked very, very good in the spring. And so I feel like they're going to give those three guys a shot to crack the roster to start the season. And then, if Nelson starts to struggle, then maybe if two of those three start to really struggle, then you can consider it. And that's not going to be really until May, until that service time clock isn't a factor anymore.
Right. But the only thing about Nelson and Loaizaga is you're not going to put Davey in the bullpen. So somebody in the
right,
rotation
but
would have
it's
to. Somebody in the
yeah.
rotation would have to struggle, and it's a nice. See, this is where the Yankees always get themselves in trouble, is that they have no depth in AAA if somebody in the rotation goes down.
Mm.
It's nice to know that if they needed somebody to come in and make starts, the next guy up is
Yeah.
Davy Garcia and not Asher Wojciechowski. Okay.
Well, now here's the
Right.
thing though with the Yankees. If that does happen, which you don't want it to happen, they better go to Davy Garcia, because there's been times where he's the obvious choice and they'll go to someone like a fucking no-name bum, and you're like, well, what's
Nestor
going on with Davy
Cortez.
Garcia? And they're like, well, he's just not ready. Well, he was ready last year. I mean, he looked
Well,
pretty.
Are we? What are we talking here? Like, if they, let's say, I don't know. I guess, let's say Kluber misses a month, and Davy doesn't come up. That's not right. That's right. You
Yeah.
would say Davy
Yeah,
has.
because even if you
need
have
a guy
to-
to
He'd
come
be
in,
the
and make,
next best option, right?
right. If you need somebody to come up and make 4 or 5 starts, you know somebody's going to be gone a month. Davy Garcia's got to be the guy. If you're missing, like let's say, fucking Montgomery's got blisters and he's going to miss a start, and it's not Garcia's turn to pitch, and they bring up Asher
Yeah.
Wojciechowski to make a start. It's not that big. That's not that
Yeah,
big.
but
of
if
a
it is
deal.
his turn to pitch, even if it's just for one start, and it lines up
Yeah,
where
but
it is
again,
his
would
time,
you burn an? Yeah, but
Yeah.
would you burn an option for that?
no, that doesn't burn an option. Remember, that does not burn an option because they already optioned him.
Why?
Because they already optioned him.
Right.
and they
If
let
there's
someone
only
back
one
down.
option per year. No,
Right.
you only
they
go through
changed-
one
You can go-
option
you
per
can
year.
go
they
back and forth
changed
now.
it. Oh.
So that's the thing. Remember, we were dealing with that a few years ago when we didn't really know how the options worked. Well, they burned that option already. They sent him down, so that option's burned. You can bring him up every other day if you want to.
Well,
So at that
what do
point,
you-
this guy's got enough in the major leagues. He has enough time in the major leagues where you're not concerned with bringing him up and screwing up his mentality at this point. So even if it's just for one start, if he lines up, he's the guy I'm going to.
Me
does
personally,
that
I don't
depend
know.
on Loizaga? I think that depends on Loizaga and Nelson, because what if
If
those
he
two guys are
fucking
looking
I'll
good?
tell you right now, if Jonathan Weisman makes a start, I'm going to punch you in the face.
He's gonna
Well,
make a start.
That's
He
that
will.
I think could be the more the
I don't
option
even
that
know
they
if I
go
want
to.
Loizaga on this fucking teammate, let alone making starts right now.
I hear you.
He
He
didn't really do
sucks.
too well
I'm
in the
sorry.
postseason last year. He showed his worth to me at that point.
There's a
But-
reason why
another
these
shot.
guys. There's a reason why these guys get drafted or signed where they get signed. The guy's got all the stuff in the world. The fact of the matter is, I don't know if he can handle the fucking lights. That's a big problem right
Yeah.
there.
And,
Because you wanna know
who's a
why
guy who
he-
can? Who's a guy who proved that he can?
Not Davy Garcia.
No,
No,
don't think he
and
proved-
because
Debatable.
no, I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. And I talked to when you had COVID, and I did most of the show with
COVID.
Dan. I brought this up with Dan. Is that in Davy Garcia's two most high profile starts last year, he struggled. The one time he got truly bombed was towards the end of the season against Boston. And you're going to say, "Oh,
Sucks.
Boston sucked." Okay, they did, but remember all the hype and all the pressure and all
Yeah.
the talk that he put on himself because Pedro Martinez is his idol, and how important it was for him to pitch
Wasn't
on
that
the
in a
same
doubleheader?
mound. I don't think it was a doubleheader. I think it was like on a Sunday.
Yeah, you might be thinking
And
of Chance Adams
and how
start years ago.
important it was, and how important it was for him to start on the same mound that Pedro Martinez started on, and he got fucking rocked. And then again, we don't need to get into what happened after, but he did not look settled in that first inning in that game. He did not.
Okay.
In game 2, he did not look settled in. So while, yes, I agree, Davy Garcia should probably be in the rotation. I'm not fighting you on that, but to say that he has already proved that he can handle the quote lights, I need to see more of him in that situation.
Fair. It's just tough to do when he's in the minor leagues.
Okay.
So
but you made a statement. I'm just reacting to the statement.
okay, so then maybe my statement should have been, who's proven they can handle the big lights a little better than Jonathan Loizaga?
Steve Nebraska.
I mean, Jonathan Loizaga looked like a fucking piece of garbage out there last year in the postseason, and Boone
I
just
would-
kept going to him.
Well,
No other
fucking
choice.
When Adam Ottavino is throwing batting practice fastballs that he's calling
And
sliders,
sliders.
what do you want him to do?
Schriders.
Yeah. At least J Lo has the pop.
No, we don't call him that.
I do.
There's a reason. There's a reason why no one likes you.
Get to the next question. Get
There's
to the
no
next segment. I'm
question.
very, very excited to talk about this.
You don't even know what the next section is.
Yeah, I do. I read your show sheets.
Ryan and I are going to break down the Justice League for the next 20
no,
minutes.
no, thank you.
I didn't watch it yet.
Of course not. You should have just said yes to trigger him, Ryan.
Yeah, we could talk about it though.
Oh my god.
Let's talk about
So the Yankees, right? We all think that they're going to win the World Series this year. At least, again, we can talk about it being
Wishful
false hope or
thinking.
whatever. But there's a possibility, very small, right, Ryan? Very small, that that they don't. So if there's going to be something that holds them back, what's it going to be? And this is also going to tie into the Twitter question in a week. So I'm going to preface this by saying you cannot
Ion?
say
Tyone?
he can be an answer. You cannot say them staying healthy because we
Okay.
all know that's going to be the number one reason why they
Obviously.
don't win. So what is your real main, like, what is a concern to you
Okay.
with this team?
I would like to start because I think what I'm going to say is going to branch out into us having a full discussion about it. And I'm going to start by saying I'm not really concerned with regular season stuff. We've talked about this a million times. The Yankees can find themselves in some shitty situations and still make the postseason, right? So I'm thinking immediately into October. And I think I'm torn between two things that I think we should discuss and kind of break down on what could be the bigger reason here. The first reason that comes to mind is no one stepping up as a number two. Right? We've talked about how important it is for one of these guys to step up as a big time number two to follow Garrett Cole. And I think if that can happen, the Yankees can coast
It better
through
not happen.
and
Please God.
the Yankees could coast through the postseason. But then again, I think back and it's like, well, Garrett Cole took the ball on short rest, yeah, but he took the ball in game 5 last year and they lost. And why did they lose? Because no one showed up. And it's like the whole postseason, really, after that first series, the only person to show up was Stanton. So it's like, is it the second ace? Is it the 1B that we need to show up and be that solid number two? Or is it more on because they have such a solid rotation where they're going to give you a decent start out there, no matter who's on the mound at this point? Is it more that this offense needs to show up finally in the postseason and just dominate?
Brian, do me a favor. There's this thing called Google. I don't know if you guys have heard of it.
No.
Use Google and ask Jeeves for the score of Game 2 of the American League Division Series last year.
Game 2?
Yeah.
I'd like to pull this up also. I don't know.
7-5.
Right. So the Yankees scored runs in that game. Okay. So again, this is going to go back to my point where I believe that their biggest problem is that nobody steps up behind Garrett Cole because they were so fucking scared of not having anybody to step up behind Garrett Cole that they pulled the fucking bullshit that they pulled last in game 2. So if they have somebody to step up, you take a 2 games to nothing lead in that fucking series, and then we're not even talking about Garrett Cole pitching in game 5 on short rest because they probably have it wrapped up in 3, possibly 4.
Fair enough.
Damn.
And I think I'm glad I brought that up because that's a fucking great point. And I guess my question is, would you guys agree? I mean, is the number one thing that would hold them back is a guy not stepping up as Cole's number 2?
Yes.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't really take this question that way where I moved past the regular season and jumped right into October, but that was definitely the approach to take. And your explanation there, that is 100% in my opinion the biggest thing that will keep or help the Yankees to win a World Series this year is someone stepping up as the number 2. You're absolutely right.
I'm not asking this to be negative. I'm asking to play a little devil's advocate here. Let's say someone does step up as the number 2, but Aaron Judge, God forbid, gets hurt. Can they still get past that as long as someone's stepping up next to Cole as a number 2? Is it
Is
that
everybody else healthy?
Yeah, everyone else is healthy, but Aaron Judge goes down. Can they can they get through that?
It'll negatively impact their chances, but I would still say that the need for a number 2 is greater than any one offensive player being in the lineup.
And not only greater than that, it's that's how important it is. That it could help them sustain.
Now, if you want to break,
like
if you want to break the camel's back, so to speak, where I'm just going to be, in the fucking dumps about this season, Aaron Judge is the guy. There's 2 guys. There may be 3. Aaron Judge, DJ, and Cole are the 3 guys that I can't see names pop up on the fucking scroll that are injured. Okay, but the most important thing for this team to get to where they want to go, somebody needs to fucking step up on that mound, fucking put their balls on the rubber and say, I'm fucking Robin. Not that you're fucking Robin.
Good Robin.
The good everybody knows Garrett Cole's
Robin.
Batman. Everybody knows that Garrett Cole's Batman. Who's going to be his sidekick? Who's going to be the number 2? Who's going to be the guy that steps in there and say, I got this?
Who's going to be fucking Joseph Gordon-Levitt at the end of, what was it? Dark Knight?
Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight Rises, when he walks in and you fucking realize he's Robin. And it was like, it gave you chills. We're not talking what's his face as Robin. O'Donnell.
Chris O'Donnell, yeah.
Right? We're not talking that kind of fucking
We can
Robin.
even talk about Robin. We can even say who wants to be Robin from How I Met Your Mother. She was pretty
a 10.
badass.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who is stepping up? Who is stepping up? If nobody steps up, this team is probably not going to win a World Series this year. We can't have Garrett Cole and 4 number 4s. It's not going to work.
No, because we saw what it did. It was a great fucking point by you. We saw what it did to this team and the how cute they thought they had to get last year.
I really do not think the Yankees are playing in a fucking wild card game this year. Okay?
They better not.
So the Yankees roll into the American League Division Series. They should, before they even clinch the fucking postseason spot, they should know who's starting game 2. They 100%. Should know it. That should have already cleared itself out through the 6 months of the fucking season.
And let me ask you this. Now that we're pretty much wrapping up spring training, do you have any difference of opinion on who that number 2 is going to be?
No, I think it's going to be Kluber. I think the Yankees want it to be Kluber based on his track record. I haven't seen enough of Tyone and Kluber to make the decision myself.
Well, man, I'll say this. If it is Kluber, Tyone's a pretty fucking good number 3, man.
Mm-hmm.
Tyone's a pretty solid number 3. And if this team can go into the postseason, again, if there's small injuries in the regular season, I think the Yankees can sustain almost anything unless it's truly catastrophic. I think the Yankees can sustain that. When you get into the postseason, if you can have a rotation of Garrett Cole, Kluber, or Tyone as your number 2, a true number 2, and then one of those guys as a number 3, you're following up with Monty, who really fucking stepped up last year in the postseason and got them to a game 5. And then Herman, if he continues pitching as well as he did this spring, as your 5th starter, which is now becomes a guy, at least in the ALDS, that you can bring out of the bullpen. I mean, man, this team is fucking solid.
And just to strengthen the points you guys are making, last year, if you look at their postseason, the scores of their games, the 2 games in the sweep against Cleveland, they scored 10 or more. I think it was 12 in the first game and 10 in the second game. And then you look at the 5 games of that ALDS, I'll just read off the scores. 9-3, they scored 9 in game 1. They scored 5 in game 2. They scored 4 in game 3. They scored 5 in game 4. And then they scored 1 in game 5. But if they had a number 2, they're winning that series.
Yeah, and what does it do to an offense when you have a true ace or even a true number 2 on the mound, it takes so much we've seen the Yankee offense with pressure on their backs, and it doesn't look pretty,
Totally
right?
right.
So after you get through Garrett Cole, and now you know your team's doing this fucking trickery where they're going to pull Garcia and Haps coming in, and you have obviously have no faith in that jerk off. What kind of pressure does that put on your back? And this team, I mean, any team
You
really.
have to put $1. You have to put $1 in a swear jar.
I don't care for saying Hap, right? Not for saying fuck.
No, that's $2.
Sorry. I mean, what does that do for your offense? You want this offense to go out there just as confident as your pitcher that's on the mound. And so that's another reason why this is so important to have these guys in this rotation and to have faith in them.
And as we go through what the fans had to say, a lot of, some of them were like, oh, they don't hit in the big spot. If you really watched the postseason last year or even the year previous, you're not stringing together 4 or 5 hits for a rally.
Right.
Right.
It's who's going to get the home run at the key
The big
time.
hit, man.
Yes.
The big hit.
And that game came down to one. The game 5 came down to one pitch. Again, it was a Aroldis fucking Chapman, but it came down to one pitch. The Rays won the game 2-1. And how'd they win? They won on 2. They hit 2 solo home runs.
And like, here's something else too. It shouldn't come down to one fucking pitch this year. It shouldn't. It better not. It better not. If it comes down to one pitch, I can rip on Chapman all I want, right? Because I do believe in that moment, it's on him, and it sucks, but it's on him. You got to step up. You got to stop giving up those big home runs. But at the end of the day, this team is built to not have it come down to one pitch anymore.
No.
And like, if it does, something went really wrong again. And it just shouldn't be that anymore.
This team is built for Chapman to be coming into games to close it out, not to come in, in a tie ball game.
That's it.
Totally.
I mean, you should have Chapman on the mound in whatever game it's going to be to clinch the series with a 3 or 4 run lead, and he closes it the fuck out. And that's it. It shouldn't have to come down to one bad pitch. You should be on top of the fucking mountain by that point. That team should have no fucking faith that they can win that game. And that's it.
All right, let's get to a couple fan comments here. We don't have to belabor this. I think we're all in agreement that it's the Yankees' need for somebody to step up and be the number 2 behind Cole. So the NYYST Podcast Twitter question of the week: outside of the team staying healthy, what is your biggest concern for the Yankees as we get ready to begin the 2021 season? The other Ryan, stadium status, consistency. Last year, they were so up and down. I felt like they never got in a rhythm. And I think we've discussed this a lot on the show. I think the Yankees were just going through the motions of the 60 games. I don't think we'll have to worry about that same thing this year. Erica Orloff, I don't know, maybe you guys can explain this to me. Sanchez's amnesia. Suddenly he forgot how to hit and catch again.
I think it's his recent struggles in spring training that he hasn't been producing.
So he's like, he's like one of these guys that you see on like the Unsolved Mysteries show that he's backpacking through Oregon because he forgot who he was.
Yeah.
And somebody picks him up.
I'll comment on this.
And they're like, I saw him in a truck stop.
I think there's a team pressure that we just talked about, where having that big time pitcher on the mound kind of alleviates a lot of that. And then there's the personal pressure that not many guys have on this team anymore, but Gary Sanchez is definitely one of those guys. Like, even if the whole team's clicking, if Gary Sanchez isn't, he puts that crazy amount of pressure on his back, and that just can't happen either. Going into the postseason, you got to hope that Gary has had somewhat of a decent year going into the postseason where he's confident and that he can be a part of the contribution that the offense is going to make.
All right, so we'll just read 2 more here. Chris Colon getting the big hits in the key moments. He says he can't keep leaving men on base and expect their pitching to only give up 2 runs or fewer. And that's where it comes into where we need another guy behind Cole, because then I can't expect my pitching to only let up 2 runs or fewer. And yes, I do think we do get frustrated that the Yankees do sometimes get rallies started and they don't finish them. But then as Kabani Gold goes on to say
Kabani Gold.
the boomer bust style of hitting, which doesn't translate well in the postseason, except for I think it does. I
It
think
does.
a lot of fans think that home run or nothing doesn't win in the postseason, but I think especially last year, man, if you really paid
Mhm.
attention, the teams that hit more home runs won, and it wasn't
Oh,
always like
dude.
the big 3-run home run. It was like the Rays won with a bunch of solo home runs, and you would never think would you ever think the Rays were going to out homer anybody?
Yeah, Kobani
Right.
Gold, listen up. It's not that the boomer bust doesn't work. It's it's the guys who can show up when they need to show up, showing up. And that's what the Yankees just haven't done.
Right.
Like outside of are you telling me Stanton's friggin' bombs last year didn't help them win games in the postseason? Of course they did. It's just that he was the only guy showing up. Like you need that. Didn't Gio have a massive grand slam that in the in the wild card round or whatever against the
Uh-huh.
I mean, those things matter. It's just a matter of showing up. Listen, any guy going up there, maybe in certain situations for certain guys, for very specific guys, they're not going up there looking to hit bombs. It's just a matter of being the hitter that you know you are. And this team's built with a lot of big power guys. It's that they tense up and they don't have an approach at the
Yeah.
plate. And that's where it fucking fails. You got to have an approach. You got to go out there and you got to be the player that you've been all year. And if that can happen, this fucking team is unstoppable. Unstoppable.
I mean, you break it down, Chris. It's if you just track the history of the playoffs, there when you look at the teams that go on these runs, it's one guy really stepping up, right? You had Arizarena, I believe I'm saying that right, last
Rosarena,
year for
yep.
the Rays.
He was like on
You had
fire.
look at Howie Kendrick's run he went on for the Nationals when they won.
Yep.
Look at Steve Pierce for the Red Sox. These guys were hitting home runs.
It's about
So
it's
that
about
timely
one
hitting.
guy kind of carrying it like Stanton, right? But that doesn't mean the rest of the team can just go to bed. You know, you gotta follow.
You need that guy. Yeah, right. They just didn't have the follow.
They didn't have the follow through.
Mhm.
All right, so we'll wrap up the show here with I saw this come because the game wasn't on Friday night, but I saw this come across my timeline. The fans they're getting a little restless here, and I know people don't like when we rip the fans,
It's getting old.
but it's yeah. But I mean, when you do shit like this, I think we have to come for you a little bit here.
Let's just say this. Okay? We're talking to the true fans who know what the fuck they're talking about. And if you're offended by when we're ripping some of these other fans, you're one of the
Then
other
you're
fans.
one of the you're one of the
Okay?
other fans.
And that's just really what it comes down to. It doesn't mean we can't have a difference of opinion, but you got to take it in context. here.
Or also feel free to rip us right back and start a debate.
Absolutely. I fucking encourage that shit, man. Rip us the fuck back. I love it.
Yeah, rip us.
So Rose
Comment.
Chapman had a rough night on Friday. He allowed 3 runs to score on 3 wild pitches,
That sounds.
and he got
sounds pretty
booed.
accurate.
He got booed off the
Mm.
mound in George Steinbrenner Field.
If
Do
only
I
he
even
were
have
alive.
to? Do I even have to explain to you?
How
Do I even have to
fucking
go into it about what is wrong with booing a guy in fucking spring training?
Yeah, it's crazy. But you know what? Fuck it, man. I'm gonna ride the positive train here and just say, you know what? Fuck it. I'm glad the fans are restless right now. You know what? Get on everyone this year. I know we say like fucking give guys some. No, you know what? Get on fucking everyone right now because it's time to fucking dominate. It's time to hold every single player accountable this season. It is fucking beyond
it's not
idiotic.
Game 7
I
of the
get
World
it. I get
Series.
it. I'm
Why are
not
you
disagreeing.
booing
They're just
somebody in a
practicing.
spring training game?
They're practicing.
Oh,
They're,
great.
first of all, not only are we restless because we haven't had a World Series in 12 years, but we've just been locked in our fucking homes for a year. So, like, fans are just happy to be out and be able to open their mouths and, like, shout shit at people. Okay?
Blake
As long
Snell
as they're
did
6
an
feet
inter-
apart.
Blake Snell did an interview with Chris
Oh,
Rose,
fuck him.
and he said that by far the fans that talk the most shit to you are Yankee fans.
Good. Fuck you, you fucking loser. What was his
I gotta get mine.
mines.
I gotta get
I gotta
mine.
get ins.
Yeah.
The Rona
Chris
ain't
Gittens
gonna get
mine.
me. I'm gonna get mine.
Where is he now?
San
San
Diego.
San Diego.
But another thing, I as like a kind of a warning, I guess. Or not a, I'll get to the warning later, but I don't know how active you guys are on Twitter. I try to be on there a lot because I think a lot of what I
Yeah.
want to base the show on is what fans are
Mm.
talking about. So I try to stay locked in. I don't know if I just maybe because of what happened last year, and then I don't remember 2 years ago. I've never seen so many people take these fucking spring training games so seriously. Like the Yankees losing, they're upset.
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of a couple things. I think it's what I just said, just being extremely on top of everyone and really, like you said, being restless and wanting a World Series. But I think it's also that like we're so anxious for baseball, we're so anxious for a full season that we haven't had it in so long that like the second spring training started, it was real to everyone.
Why did Boo take Cole out after 48
Yeah,
pitches?
yeah. I mean,
I actually seen somebody
you're-
tweet that.
You're
That's a
fucking
real
tweeting
tweet.
about that. Meanwhile, you're playing in a league that you can have a manager can come out and go, okay, the inning's over. Like, okay, oh, there wasn't 3 outs. Okay, the inning's over though. Okay, like, come on.
Aaron, you can only stop after 20 pitches. It's at 19. No, but you were tying your shoe, remember? And you
Yeah,
missed
yeah.
that one.
But let's
okay.
boo.
We'll let
We're
it go.
booing this league. So
My,
you
if
got to take it for what it is.
if you're riding this roller coaster with fucking spring training games, you will be dead by April 10th.
Dead, so
Dead. You will not handle it if Garrett Cole allows a leadoff home run on Thursday, you're going to fucking have a heart attack.
Listen, you know how we talked about the players haven't played a full season in now over a year? And
Yeah.
like the Yankees are going to kind of baby them a little and like work their way back into playing every single day, 162 games. The fans are going to have to do the same thing. Like we forget the fucking up and down roller coaster of emotions that 162 game season brings. Like you need to calm down. This is fucking spring training. This is just
But why are you burning energy now?
Yeah, like don't burn energy now.
You haven't gone through this in 2 years.
You need to build your stamina back up. You can't just fucking go out there and start booing in spring. That's like
I can't believe Aaron booed. He said he was gonna start Kluber and fucking Jolius Chassid is starting fucking Aaron. You're not gonna make
Think about
it.
this. Think about this. Booing Aroldis Chapman is equivalent to giving a Greg Bird a curtain call on a walk-off spring training game, home run. Like that's like giving Greg Bird a fucking curtain call for that after he's been hurt for a year. Okay, that's the
equivalent.
Okay,
That's
think
the
about how
equivalent of
idiotic
Greg
that
Bird.
is. Okay,
That's just the equivalent of Greg Bird.
yeah, that's about all he's good for.
Hi, I'm Greg Bird. I hit walk-offs in the spring. You call me Mr. March.
Sign me to your team. I'll be hurt within a month.
Did he make the team right? Do you know? Did you see anything come across?
Yeah, he probably got hurt again. I mean, Jesus.
You know what it was like? You know what it did? He probably put a bug in the manager's office and he was sitting there listening on his phone and the manager's going, yeah, you know, Birdie, I think we're gonna put him on the squad. I like what I've seen. He could probably be a decent contributor off the bench, and he's probably saying to himself, fuck, what haven't I injured yet? My glute, coach. I pulled my ass muscle.
Well, news broke 5 hours ago that
How
Greg
about we
Bird
let you get-
has been reassigned to minor league camp,
Oh,
so he's
boy.
not making it.
They'll wait.
Man.
He'll get his chance. He'll come up, and then he'll get hurt. And that's just the vicious cycle of Greg Bird.
My one last, outside of Greg Bird's home run against Andrew Miller in the postseason, my one lasting memory of Greg Bird's Yankee tenure is I was driving down to Wildwood. It was like a Thursday, and I was sitting in traffic, and the Yankees were trying to make a comeback against the fucking Rays. And I think he was up with the bases loaded, and he either struck out or fucking popped up. And I fucking sitting in traffic on the parkway, I fucking lost my mind.
Was that
That's
that
my-
wasn't the
that's-
time that Sterling thought it was a home run, was it?
No. I don't know.
No, this was the
because I
time
think-
when you texted
I know
us and
exactly
said,
when you're
yeah,
what you're
yeah,
talking
you said
about.
I
Seth.
almost just drove my car over the fucking median. That's how
I remember
angry you
that.
That's
are.
my
It was a
last
third base
memory of
pop
Greg
up
Bird.
down the third base line.
Yep. Loser.
Right. Yeah. And that was what, chance 3,892 for him?
Mhm.
Well, he said he was going to get 3,000 more.
Was
Remember?
But actually, wasn't that? I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that's the game after. In the post game is when he said that, "Oh, I'll have 5,000 more chances."
Yep.
I believe
was-
that's the game.
Now that I'm thinking back,
Wow.
and maybe we can find it, and you guys can correct me. I believe it was a pop up that went into foul territory, and it was almost like a play against the wall, whatever. It was a shitty pop up, and that was it. And that ended the game.
Yeah.
And we were all sitting there going,
Yeah.
"This is going to be his moment to fucking break through." Nope.
I was trying to fucking turn around right in the Parkway there. I was like, "Fuck this! I'm driving
Down the one way,
I
down the
can't.
same side.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm done. I don't even want to go. Fucking Greg Bird ruined my vacation.
I don't
Fucking
blame you.
scumbag. But he hit that one home run off Andrew Miller, so you know,
Hey,
he's better than Luke
Yeah.
Voigt.
Yep.
All right, so that should wrap up episode 220 of the NYYST podcast. Please follow us on Twitter at NYY Sports Talk. We are still working on doing a bonus episode Tuesday night for Wednesday morning. We'll obviously we'll tweet out any information regarding that, but if not, we will definitely be back Friday morning. Well, we don't know that because
yeah,
it's weather
well,
pending.
yeah. Either Friday or Saturday morning.
It might be. It'll either be Friday or Saturday morning. You're guaranteed at least 2 shows this week.
We'll
and
be highlighting
also,
opening day. We'll say.
Yeah. So, and we'll also give a little update on the future of the show. Not if we do if we do the bonus episode, but on the opening day episode, there'll be some news about how we're going to proceed with things going forward here. But please continue your support. We thank everybody that continues to listen to the show. Yeah, that's all I got. So unless Ryan wants to say anything, you know, I'd like to leave it open to Ryan to make any closing
Thanks.
remarks.
No, I gotta say this episode.
This was like the therapy episode, but before the season.
Yeah,
Before the
really,
start of the
I
season, it like really felt like we got everything out that we needed to get out.
and it's like we're 3 steps ahead. Like we're thinking ahead, and we're not gonna get fooled this year. Like we really.
We hope.
You're so
We hope.
orange, though, Ryan.
You are very.
I think I got a little tan today. I just, it's these walls, it's the lighting.
you look
Gotta
huge.
fix
You look huge.
the lighting.
All right. So thank you for listening. We'll be back when we're back, but if we'll definitely be hearing from us after opening day, hopefully in between. We'll see what happens. Stat Guy Rye.
Go Yank.
Stat Guy Rye.
Go Yanks.
Little enthusiasm, please, in case this is your last episode before opening day. Stat Guy Rye.
Go Yanks.
Chris, say goodbye.